speak now to journalist and commentator Selim Atalay, who joins us from here in Istanbul. Hi, Selim. So President Erdogan said he believes that an agreement was reached with President Trump last night, one of historical significance. What do you take that for?
Well, President Trump and President Erdogan are friends again, we confirmed. Turkey and U.S. are on a better note, reconfirmed. And President Trump is adamant about leaving Syria, and he will make sure that his orders are being followed despite the domestic internal opposition. So that's a fact. And he is very much willing to hand over, especially northern Syria, to Turkey. Now, Turkey had been very keen about this target for such a long time, just clearing northern Syria from any armed terrorist hostile groups. So, namely the PKK and the PYD, its extensions. So, everyone seems to be okay with this whole outcome. Now, the timing is important, of course. Chiefs of staff are talking today. The Turkish U.S. chiefs of staffs are talking. So that is about the details of this operation. Operation meaning it seems that it will be a controlled move by the Turkish army and the Free Syrian Army, which are the militia, to given targets within the north. And yes, there's talk about this 20-mile zone, but again, it doesn't have to stay there. It is not ironclad zone. It can be extended because Donald Trump and the U.S. generals are also watching the ISIS presence further south, and they would like to coordinate with that. But the first stage would be the territory within the 20-mile zone. Now, with the Kurds, the issue is Donald Trump and the U.S. political establishment is making this mistake of using the term Kurds as a wholesale term. And President Erdogan is pointing out the difference. Kurds as citizens, Kurds as Syrian citizens, and the terrorist groups. So it's better for the U.S. establishment to fast move this difference between Kurds and armed terrorist groups who might have some ethnic background. That seems to be the key issue.
Right. But Selim, I mean, you said a minute ago, everyone now seems okay with this outcome. I mean, are they okay with this outcome? Because it asks the question, why did this dispute arise in the first place? I mean, Trump very simply said that the United States was getting out of Syria because he believed Turkey could take care of everything just fine, and Turkey was a trusted partner, according to President Trump. And then all of a sudden, top members of his administration come out and say the opposite and actually speak as if Turkey is some sort of threat to people in the region. So do you think Trump is going to get his way now? Have those critics been silenced, or could this start all over again once John Bolton comes out and says something else completely unexpected, for example?
Well, uncertainty, isn't it? It's always the part of our lives. So, and Donald Trump's life too. Now, uncertainty, opposition, first of all, the policy. Donald Trump says we are out of Syria and Turkey is taking care of the rest. So, which is fine as long as Turkey and U.S. are eye to eye and coordinating. And this seems to be the initial steps of this coordination, namely Turkish president and the U.S. president are in sync, which matters. Now, the second part, Donald Trump has various opposition. It's understandable that Congress or this and that pundit might be criticizing him. He might be developing some sort of an immunity against that also. But all criticism within his own administration, within his own cabinet, within his own National Security Council is not very logical at this stage. he needs to figure out what Mr. Bolton is about and what the real U.S. interests are about. But politically, Donald Trump should say the last word, and Mr. Bolton should not really, he's appearing too many times. His name is appearing too many times in these conversations as like a vice president or an Uber president. There's one president of the United States, and I think that is Donald Trump, and he better make sure it stays that way, and Bolton should be following the orders. This whole Bolton thing is getting very ridiculous at this point.
Should be. Okay. Let me ask you this, though. I mean, let's actually talk about the one major point of agreement that we're hearing was in the phone conversation last night, the safe zone. Logistically, how will that be implemented? Will Turkish troops, for example, be put at risk, or will this actually be the safest option for all involved?
Now, zone control, territory control, it's a military thing, to be honest. But the area, that particular area, is the zone that is running along this Turkish border, that is Syria. And actually, border for the longest time, communities on both sides were very much related. They are relatives. They are just same families, clans sharing the both sides of the border. So yes, there is a political border there, but socially, the zone actually Turkish, if we call an influence zone, Turkish influence zone extends much further south than the political border. Now, there are various communities in northern Syria. Yes, Kurds are one of them, but there are also other ethnic communities, Turkmens and other groups. So all politically, the question is, are all participating in this process, or are all given the chance to participate in this process? Under the YPG-PKK, this was not possible. YPG-PKK was dictating just ironclad, iron fist rule and excluding all other minorities. Let's not forget the Arabs, of course. Now, the zone control, let's remember that the U.S. did this with its 2,000 soldiers, and they were spread all over. Similarly, Turkey can do the same. You don't need massive force. This is not an invasion army. This is not invasion. So one condition is that the terrorist group should really drop their weapons and retreat. That will be the easiest solution. If they resist, then this is not only a Turkish problem, but will be a Turkish-U.S. joint problem, because yes, they are or were the U.S. allies against the ISIS, but any group that is attacking Turkish forces will be considered a terrorist group by Turks anyway. So it will be a joint Turkish-U.S. problem, but we will see that in the further stages.
Okay, I'm looking a little further ahead, Selim. I mean, tell us then, if Turkey's security goals are reached in cooperation with the United States, Turkey would most hope for, if those goals are reached, the area is secured, they feel the terrorist groups in the region are no longer a threat, how will northern Syria, along the Turkish border, how will it actually look? Who will be administering this area?
The ideal situation will be peace and quiet. Let's not forget that northern Syria is also, and also the east of the Euphrates, is also the part which has Syrian oil, Syrian natural resources, Syrian agricultural output is all in this eastern Euphrates area. Eastern Euphrates area and the Turkish border areas are the territories that get the most rain for agricultural purposes. So it's a very valuable zone. Now, Turkey says that Syrian territorial integrity is respected. And let's also keep in mind that Russia and Iran are also players in this, and they are close allies of Damascus. Now, short-term security concerns requires this Turkish involvement in northern Syria, but for the medium to long term, President Erdogan had tabled an interesting plan, which was published as an op-ed at the New York Times newspaper, for the immediate future of the North, which means communities ruling themselves, communities providing security for themselves, and communities are uniting for the common cause, not divided and dispersed as has been the case. So initial idea is, yes, providing security, but next stage is some peace and calm, quiet period where communities will just be revived again, which let's not forget that they have been oppressed not in the last 2-3 years, but throughout the whole Damascus regime times.
Okay. Selim Atalay, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much for joining us with your insights and interpretation.